Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hopefully everything's running smoothly this time, and you can hear me. Last stream, it kicked out on me 2 or 3 times, and by the 3rd time, I was like, well, I think it's kind of time to call it. Considering I already did an hour. So, figured, hey, got something done. But pretty much at the end of the drawing here, as far as the pencil goes. And time to color it up, or start to. Definitely not going to finish it in this one sitting, but just wanted to relax and paint for a while. Figured I'd bring you along. I was thinking to myself earlier, like, why do I like to do this? Like, why do I want to stream? And I realized that the answer has changed along the way many times, but I think I realized that it's just all about, like, recording my art journey. I think it'd be interesting in 30 years to look back and on 3,000 videos and just to, like, see the story. So that feels better. That feels more aligned, than like getting more views or making money off of it. Kind of where it started when I was a kid. Just like playing with cameras. Just always thinking of something to film with, or film, rather, both. So we are painting Blackreach from Skyrim, and I walked around the game and I got myself my own little screenshot of it that I'm working from. I'm not drawing it exact. Adding some things in, like the dwarven sphere here. He's not there. Would be nice if he stayed up on the stairs there for me while I took a picture. What's up, Stephanie? Good to see you here. And so, just gonna decide where all the light's gonna be. How goes this Tuesday in Arizona? Are y'all still vacationing around and seeing things? Or are you back home? More nature adventures? Alright. Just gotta press record here. I actually remembered this time. Oh. Dropped down a little bit when I pressed record. That's definitely something that messes with it. At least it's a theory. I have power plug issues with my computer. It's been going out for a while now. I know it's only a matter of time until it's just super not functional. Let's hope that doesn't happen. Oh, really quick, I have to put the shades down to get rid of those shadows. There we go. I was still able to keep the window open. We're back home. It's Steve's birthday today, but we celebrated pretty hard last week, so today we're just going to chill at home. Nice. Happy birthday, Steve. Glad to see you make it around the sun again. How old are you now? What level did you get to? So I have my wash brush here. I bought this recently, and it started as an experiment, but I really love it. It's a great brush. It can do a lot of things. So the mushrooms in this are glowing different color than the geodes. It's a good thing to keep in mind. So I'm just gonna get a little water on my watercolors here. Birthday in the chat, happy birthday. What's up, sis? Good to see you. Hope you're having a good day yourself. Everyone hope the internet works. I think when it starts doing that, all I got in me is like 3 retries before I'm like, well, it's not worth like building up the crowd and then dropping them, you know, over and over. Turn this sponge over. Let me put the sponge here for now to show you how much I put the brush on it, because I use it a lot to get water off the brush. Big step. Until I have to use that area of the palette. Now with watercolor in this stage, I like to slow down and not. I think it's easy with watercolor to get ahead of yourself, and it's easier to just enjoy the process and sort of think about where things are going to be placed for a minute. And I think the trickiest part of this painting is going to be capturing the glow. Particularly if I want to nail it with a wet on wet wash. I mean, I could always just paint it to the end and then try to get the glow effect with gouache. But I think it's worth trying to go at it with the watercolor, because it's always going to be a bit softer if you get that right versus the gouache. But, you know, I'm sure some would argue that you can get the same effect with both if you know how to do it. I'm only savvy in 3 mediums. Maybe 4. They're separated like pen and ink. And, you know, I think, so some watercolors you can kind of approach them in 2 ways. It's very, I'm generalizing there, but like, you can kind of paint it in sections, or you can do like big wet on wet wash and kind of bring it all together. But because of this specificity here of like all the different little glowy things, believe it or not, sometimes I'll sit here and stare at a painting for 20 minutes before I decide what I want to do. But if I had to give you some advice, I would say don't go too long. There's a moment where you've worked it all out, all the options. It's time to just strike the paper and make something happen. It's a super, super cool, like, or I should say cold blue. Very heavy in the green, so I'm gonna use the brightest blue I have here, cyan or whatever. It has a couple different names. And there's a lot of trust in the process with these watercolors, because I swear it doesn't look right sometimes till the very end when you finally get that contrast against the light that you placed in the beginning. It feels a bit different when you do opaque mediums like acrylic or gouache, where if you're working from dark to light, there's almost like an instant gratification when you start highlighting things. Yeah, for sure. Here's this. Here's the red nernroot, crimson nernroot, and here's the dwarven sphere, guys. I was looking at 3 different versions of the game. You can see he's pretty fancy, huh? But these are the glowy geodes. And then you can see the mushroom. Now this is the aura here. This right here is the part I want to get. Game's awesome. Honestly, every time I work on this art, it makes me want to play it after I'm done. Watercolors are really dry. Now I want to grab a little bit of yellow. You can see how vibrant of a green these 2 colors make. Take lemon yellow, cyan, get some nice greens in there. On this side, I'm going to grab some yellow. And sort of get a bronze color going. And clean out my brush enough there. Keep in mind, these colors are transparent, so it's always like you're adding white almost, or whatever color's underneath it. And I'm gonna want to get the light wash going and then put this over it. Is my theory anyway. Every painting's an experiment, but in theory, because this is highly yellow color, when it hits that blue-green, it's gonna give us the color we want. And I say that because behind the glow of this mushroom, there's like some ruins, and they have the Dwemer metal color, but because it's so dense in the atmosphere, the blue is just overtaking everything and just mixing with everything. And so basically I have to keep blue in mind. But I think it'll be fine to start with blue. I don't want this wash to be too pure of one color. I think what I can do is just add more yellow on this side. I think it's fun to let the brush have multiple different colors on it at once. Get some good effects there. And I'm gonna add a little bit more water, because this is our lightest color we're going for right now. We're gonna attempt to preserve it over time. And most of this mushroom glows this color. Anything quite the color I wanted. And I'm gonna let that go outside of it a little bit there. Grab a little blue, toss that in there. Use the corner. Most brushes you can use in 5 ways. And basically just want to make sure, keep in mind, what can I paint over, what can't I paint over later. And we can fill this in, and you can see because I mixed the brush different colors, it sort of makes this nice gradient effect between a bunch of random different colors, and that's one thing I like about watercolor, because it does all that work for you. Get more green color here. And right now, to the white of the paper, this is looking darker. But you'll see later on, once we finally get to darkening things, which will be the very last step, or the end of the painting, it's gonna change. It's gonna be opposite. Same thing, I'm gonna grab a little blue on that side of the brush, turn it over. Actually, I like what they did here. And they made the second mushroom more blue than the first. See how that looks later. If anything, I do want a little more blue in this one. Just up here. And you have a little bit of time, not a lot of time, depending on how wet your wash is, in the sense of when you're gonna start losing that nice automatic blending effect that happens. And I actually want to dry my brush here and take out some water. Sometimes you can use paper towels, but I find that you want to get it completely off. But if you just want to take a little bit of water out, the brush is by far, in my opinion, the best tool for that. The brush just needs to be drier than what you're touching it with to work. Grab more blue. Got like a medium wet brush right now. And somewhere around there, I'd say, is... I'm happy with that. And this is where you sort of begin, you know, you just kind of make a couple mental notes and make those the golden rules of your painting. And you gotta kind of just discover the rest. I mean, that's how I like to paint. It's not the only way. I like to go along a discovery process with a little bit of planning. And you can adjust that meter wherever you like. And, you know, maybe there's a hair of green. Here I'm just grabbing the yellow and putting it right on. Because sometimes I like what that does. And you can see, because it's wet here, it does the job of kind of moving it and blending it out, which that's a great feature to watercolor. And I'm gonna go a little outside in case I want to use it for glow. And these colors are gonna dry even lighter than they look now. The bottom one's glowing a lot. It's got some blue in it. I'll make the front blue and the back green. And we don't have to worry about going over these stalks. If I have to use a new spot, I use a new spot. Clean it later. These kind of brights are... I'm almost gonna have to leave some white in there. So the rocks are just like straight up glowing. Mostly bright blue, but see what we get from these two colors here. It's gonna be kind of a muted green. Start leaning towards the yellow, and basically this is a structure here. It's pretty much what it looks like. Give it more yellow. Okay, I like that more. If you go really light with your transparents, you can have a few tries at it before the color is lost. You make more, I didn't make enough of it. Find cadmium yellow, it'll be way more aggressive when you're mixing, by the way. If you're having trouble moving a color in a certain direction that requires yellow, cadmium has good mixing power. Just kind of seeing how it feels to have this color here. This is dark here, it's not that bright, but seeing how I want it to mix. And what's interesting, and it's consistent and fun, you can play with it in watercolor, is any spot on the paper that isn't wet, it like acts hydrophobic, strangely enough. So, you know, like what I thought at first is like, why wouldn't it want to get sucked over there? Because it's dry, right? No, it propels it. And it stays with the area of the painting that's wet. You can use that effect to your advantage. It's really cool. It's almost like it'll create a puddle, and it can get pretty deep before the puddle runs on its own. You ever see like how they'll drip drops of water on top of a penny to show you how high the surface tension bubble goes? It's the same thing. Basically, I'm just learning what color I want this ruined stuff to be. I'm liking so far the undertones. I think it's a good wash color for it before I come back with darker colors. I think like dwarven metal in this game, it's pretty bronzy and gold, but we're in a super blue environment. And so I'm trying to get at that realism, usually. So on this side, gonna make more of this bright blue, which I actually might have to get more of the tube. About used it all here. Yep. Tell you, this palette has this thing that holds your brushes. It's so easy to flip them off. Constantly do it. Alright, let's see. Do you find brand new tubes of paint satisfying? I do. It's in here somewhere. There it is. Yeah, so they're calling it cerulean blue. But like I have a color called primary blue and it's very close to it. Every company like calls it what they want almost. Man, that one was stuck. Sometimes you gotta be careful, you can rip it if you torque it too much. I've done it many times. Is this where they live? Is this mine? So, definitely will take some explanation. Basically, it's a long story. Because the Elder Scrolls game and universe, it's a whole world with its own history. Because, I mean, the fantasy genre just gets that intense. Like, they literally do the work to make all that shit up. So, it's like a story of hundreds and hundreds of years. But basically, when you play the first game, the dwarves were a race that, like, existed a long time ago. And so, like, playing the game in present day, everyone's like, it's almost like in the game it's like the archaeology that everyone's obsessed with, and so there's dwarven ruins everywhere, and everyone's trying to figure out how they had their way about life and blah blah blah. But basically everywhere in the game there's like dwarven ruins, and you go in them and you gotta like fight the enemies and explore them and stuff, and it's a big feature to the game. But this is where they once lived, I guess is a good simple way to say it. So, like, they aren't actually in the game. There's one in the first version of the Morrowind. There's like the last living one, but he's in pretty rough shape, and I think he dies at the end of the quest. But by the time you get to Skyrim, you know, I think each game's like 100 years or 200 years apart. Pretty intense. There's tons of games like that, and they all have their own universe. They go all out. Gotcha. Yeah, these games, those kind of games are crazy. It's like there's so much more than just like a game. They go all out. They make up the whole thing. And I'm purposely allowing some puddling here. Here's where I want to meet that little glow. I can use a wet on wet technique later there, I think, once I get the more things laid out. Here's where I'm bringing a little bit of Prussian blue. It has yellow in it, so it's gonna stay in the family. Just see what that does for fun. Oh, a little chunk of watercolor got on the paper. Stuck to the brush. Let it happen. And because Mr. Fancy Dwarven Sphere over here is intricate, I'm gonna come in with gouache and paint him in at some point. And I'm leaving, the goal of this is to leave a little bit of the actual yellow color right here. So that's where like the glowy mushrooms are lighting them up a little bit. So. And I just slowly kind of work my way. To darker and darker until it looks right. Now I haven't looked at the photo in a minute. Try to look away as long as I can. Sort of explore and make it a bit of my own more. Same thing with the tendrils or whatever you want to call them hanging off the mushroom. You think this is like the undercolor, the wash they call it in watercolor. Slowly leave it behind so that it peeks through the rest. A little bit of blue. This must be like dry chunks of this Prussian blue coming off. Keep getting too much of it. Oh yeah, there's a straight up rock stuck in the brush. Huh. That'll do it, look at this. Cool effect to remember though. I'll definitely keep that in mind. Get a little chunk of watercolor in there and it draws cool lines. But not for this application. I think I'm just gonna slowly paint this thing in sections. Feels like the right way to approach it because of the detail. I feel like I got a rock stuck in this thing. Give this blue a little more water. Let it sit. I don't want to switch to a smaller brush, but I'm gonna try to stick with it. It's good to stick with the bigger brush in the early stages so you don't get drawn into detail too much. Very enticing. Drawing pulls you in to work on this tiny little spot before you worked out the rest. Happens to me all the time. Alright. There's. Has the stream been smooth so far, fam? No skippies? Hope so. These type of drawings, I like how the pencil sort of peeks through the watercolor. I'm not looking for this to be perfect. I'm not really even shading it yet necessarily. Just think of this color as the brightest. Some of it I won't even leave behind at all. Go right over it. Is this the same size sketch as the floating islands? I think this is a tad bit bigger. So, let me see. This is my recent graveyard painting here. That's how big it is. You can see the paper is a bit bigger, but not by much, like an inch on each side. I think this is 6 by 8, and this paper is 7 by 10. But the drawing's a little bit smaller because I have the taped edge. We redo this recording so the file doesn't get too big. Makes the computer mad. Kind of like how it's pooling up there. Sometimes you get happy accidents like that. Okay. Now I'm gonna have to move my sponge. No more sponge action, sorry. And let me get some Prussian blue here. I'm gonna make us cold, like earthy color here. Color in the rock ceiling that's a little bit behind. Actually, but first, let's see, I gotta get my short round brush. Where is that? Where is the brush? Oh, yeah. And take some of this blue. Actually, cobalt. Different. These are the geodes on the ceiling, and they're a bit different in hue compared to the mushroom glow color. And I'm just taking the color in its pure form and adding lots of water, which is the same as adding white. One hair towards cyan. So I'm gonna grab a little bit of lemon yellow. Just barely. I don't want it to be green. Just moving the hue over on the hue slider. More water. It's easy to go too far with water, then it's a little too desaturated. And I can totally see at the end this needing a little bit of a gouache touch up for extra brightness. But it's good to map them out for now. Think of these little specks. If anything, it's probably best to take out another brush and do the speck trick. Without getting too crazy. Let me see if I can even flick it. Yep, there we go. Just like that. And that's already a little too much, but fine. Gather it up a little bit here. Just a little more clustery. I don't want it to be like, it's not like snowflakes. Okay, that's fine. Then there's like a few stray ones. Definitely be coming off the edge a little bit there. Okay. And these maintain their color pretty strong. Makes sense considering there's not much getting in the way of the blue. So on this ceiling, there's some here. There's big chunks of it. I actually want a little bit more cyan flavor. Maybe not. I think cobalt was fine. It's just my brain being like it's too dark. But I go through this again and again. Just gotta see. There we go. That's more color probably. Just gotta see how it comes out. It's good to have a little bit of color wiggle going on. Changing it up. It's not gonna all be the same exact blue. It's just how it goes. Kind of becomes a habit. You don't think about changing the color a little bit here and there, each kind of just becomes a brainless thought. But once you start messing with all the colors and you find your favorite ways to make little variations. Hey, what's going on? Just happened someone followed? Thank you, appreciate you. It's not telling me, unfortunately. But thank you. Appreciate it. It was too small and tiny and then it disappeared. I used to... The one thing Streamlabs was good with was it showed like an activity log as it goes out here. A couple little sprays. And you can get pretty crazy with the spray. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of different ways you can go about it to get different effects. Just think outside the box that, you know, what direction you're flicking it, how hard, how much water's on the brush. You can even flick the paper with the bristles, see what that makes. A lot you can get out of a single brush. Wait a bit. Wait a bit. This geode's going behind this tower way back here. Only want a few dots, you know? Just like that, just a really gentle flick. And it's getting overlapped by that rock, so I'm just trying to bring it right up to the edge. Any little thing you can do for yourself so that you don't have to do it later. And it sort of trails off like that. They reappear over here. And if you can figure out how to draw with chaos literally like that with a flick, you know, it does the work for you. But obviously you're not random about it, it's intentional. And you know, you can manually paint chaos. There's a certain look to it. Like, think of it like trying to paint a whole starry night sky by hand without doing the flicky thing. Take you longer. And might find it's hard to capture that look. Randomness has a look to it. I guess that's the way to think of it. Way up here, peeking back behind the wall, coming around. So this, think of this big part of the cave ceiling coming down is kind of like mid-ground, and then this one's background. So I want to make sure there's no glowy geodes up here, so it's okay if I go over a little bit. Look good to cut them off with a nice dark color. Be cool if there was a rock that glowed, huh? Like its own, like emitted its own light. Not like one that needed a light on it. Okay, now I'm gonna do something interesting that I haven't done in front of you guys yet, but I have experimented with. Let me just make sure. Actually, we're not quite done with this color yet. Almost there, almost there. A few more things. So here, this mushroom again. And I'm going back down to this well that has a more greenish version of this color. Because now we're way back. Got this blanket of blue atmosphere in front of it. So pull it towards green. And then the dwarven colors we made. There's these two cogs that are coming out of the side here. I'm gonna try to keep those as yellow as I can. Can't get away with it anymore. Here's the spot that's lit up on it. Just painting the light in. And then we fade blue. And sort of color mix this little areas automatically with watercolor. It's nice. Depends on how big the puddle is. Just grabbing little drops of yellow or bronze mix and tossing it in there. And we're gonna have to draw the bars. So there's a bars over the story. I have to draw them with the negative space. And think of this color on it now as the color of the bars. Get me there. They're really far away. So it's hard to really see them, but see them just enough for it to be worth working on and showing what it is to the viewer. Oops. That happens. Sometimes you grab a little bit too much pigment, but just go with it. Add more of the other. Now you just have more paint. Debatable, I wasn't making enough anyway. I'm gonna grab a little bit of Prussian blue. Oh, that wasn't a little bit, was it? It's fine though. It didn't take me too far from the color. I'm just making a lot of it. Yeah, it's cool. This will dry up, and next stream when we continue working on it, I can just reactivate it. A glowing Rick. Yes. Nothing better than a glowing Rick. A little more red in there. Oh man, the red's wet. I keep dipping my brush a little too hard. Gonna have to grab out the tube of cadmium yellow here in a minute. Well, there are going to be glowing rock stuff because I already drew them. But I'm going to have a little fun with the masking fluid on this one. I didn't think of that at first, but as I was painting the geodes, I'm like, it'll actually help. You can show the world what masking fluid is like. Even though the world already knows what it's like. little bit more red. Tiniest bit of blue. Teeniest bit. There it is. I have a little test paper off camera here. Okay. Beneficial to have a test paper. Just a big old blank white piece of paper. If you're not sure, just dab it on there and make all your worries go away. But the thing with masking fluid is you have to make sure it's completely dry, or you die, literally.
Oh, wow.
Yes, just like the Krabby Patty episode. Oops, I punched the pallet can. 3 points.
Grading and my audiobook.
Wow. Playing.
Wait.
Alright. And the tower behind this thing is not lit up. However, gonna give it a little bit right here. Only to cover it later. And these up front mushrooms are the ones that are the most glowy to the point where they actually have bloom around them. Bloom being that soft feathered edge of light that happens, especially in video games, because they really bring it out. I would say it's more rare in nature. It's kind of like an effect of your eyes getting overexposed by the bright light. But the foreground ones are the only ones that have that. This is pretty much the whole. This is like what you see here. These paint marks I did are the only light sources in this whole place. The trickiest part of this is gonna be like interpreting how they artificially balance light in here, because everything's lit up more than it actually would be.
It's not real.
No, it's not real. And strangely enough, like, that's made it an interesting challenge, because it's like kind of quirky. Like, it's not realism. It's like you're copying like what they were going for, but then you have to kind of like fill in the blanks. Because like a video game, even though the graphics are good these days, it still doesn't look 100% real, right? So there's some things I have to bring the rest of the way. Stonio, it's good. Thank you, appreciate you here. We're working on Blackreach from Skyrim. I'm just letting these geodes dry. Maybe a few more flicks. Get the color again. Oh, it's dry, yeah. Don't worry. You know why? Because it's watercolor. That's why I love it. Let's go. Just reactivates the best. Remember how sad I would get? Depressed for days over just that one acrylic color you couldn't find. You finally mixed it and then dried on you.
So sad.
So sad.
Like what? It's over.
Yeah. It was a tough time for the family and everything.
Toxic relationship with acrylic.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey. Wifey's in chat. Alright. I'll take that flick. That one single flick sometimes. And then I'm gonna take my finger, and actually I'm gonna take the brush. This thing is, none of these really perfectly circle. Like a raindrop or a snowflake situation. Or sparks would benefit you to make them perfectly circle. So I'm gonna like disrupt little beads. And then combine some of them because you don't want it to look like it got sprayed on the paper. It's kind of like, I like the technique for getting you 75% of the way there and then messing it all up. No, just fixing it. Alright, there we go. Nice. Heck yeah. We officially have someone else doing art along with the video. That's all I could ever ask for. I haven't said it recently, but you know, it's always promoted that you paint along. Even try the same painting.
Beans is gonna do art video.
Yep, our cat's joining.
Family art time.
Family art time. How is Arizona still stabby, I presume? Yes, indeed. Arizona's just trying to kill you. But like, unlike other things that try to kill you, it's like the ground and the plants and like the environment is trying to kill you. It's so good.
It's so good.
Well, I can't stop making fun of your town anthem for the way it looks. Because it's literally like when you drive in, you're on this highway and then suddenly it's just like a town in the center of a desert. And it's like, how is this working? How doesn't the infrastructure just melt every time it's like noon? Then you all have to move and rebuild. Don't you guys have like a giant aqueduct that they had to build? Isn't that a thing? Coming from like 100 miles away. Like a crazy big aqueduct. I feel like I saw it, like I drove by it, and then like Steve filled it in on like the story, but I didn't want to speak on it because I don't remember. Oops.
Ew, everyone's gonna know you burped.
Oh my god.
You're so
Wow.
gross.
I'm disgusting, I'm sorry. Absolutely still stabby, but awesome. Oh, you agree, Marcy? Yeah. Marcy says Arizona's stabby too. When did you go to Arizona? Oh, okay.
You don't know what she does.
Yeah, you're right. She answered. Go back to this really cold blue. Burr. And I'm gonna use Prussian blue to darken it. Now, fun fact about Prussian blue and cyan, or whatever you want to call it, cerulean, sky blue, baby blue. You can actually get a very close to cyan color if you take pure Prussian blue and just thin it out. And I learned that recently. Because you look at it, it's so dark, you're like, there's no way I could use that for the sky. But you can. And the reason is because Prussian blue is, it has yellow, like a little bit of yellow in it, or green, however you like to look at it. So when you lighten it all the way to its lightest form, it's pretty much cyan, because cyan's a very yellow blue. Now, you know, the pure pigmentists will come out and go, no, it's not true. It's not the exact pure pigment. The cyan molecule or whatever. But at the end of the day, you get close enough and you put it in the right context, it's like, it looks good enough. Don't forget the alien. Oops, you're right. Yeah, man. Yep, magnetic cow. Of course, the magnetic cow. It's always here. It never leaves.
It never leaves. It's here to stay.
Mm-hmm.
Magnetic cow forever.
I wish so much more people were there for that in the early days, but
Long live magnetic cow.
that's such an OG story to play a joke I'm streaming at this point. Like that goes. That was. I remember how delirious. Every time I think about that, I think about how delirious I was, because that was like a 13-hour stream. Remember, my ass was hurting, my soul was hurting, everything was hurting.
You were delirious.
Yeah, I was. It was worth it though. It was all worth it.
Magnetic cows are always with
Yeah. Now, grab the slightest bit of red to dull it out, because it's complementary. Basically, you take a complementary color, you mix it with its counterpart, it'll like kill it. Turn it towards gray, keeping a little bit of its property. So that's the fun part. You can slowly massage in the opposite color and find the grays that you like. Or, you know, you can just get gray. Like, that's how I started. I remember finding out about pre-mixed neutral gray and being like, yes, that's exactly what I needed. And then I just like took all the colors I wanted to use and mixed it with that. But the problem with that is you can get far with it and then you get cool effects with it. But then it ends up kind of just keeping you in this one world to where you try to get these other looks of color and you're like, why can't I quite get it to look different? And it's because what's happening is you're always adding a little bit of white and black when you have neutral gray to the color you're mixing. So you're always battling this like wave of desaturation, and it's like, it's powerful. So it's like, it's almost like there's not enough pigment in the world. And I would find myself on my palette just adding more and more pigment, trying to fight back the gray to no avail. And so it's there to understand like what colors move in which direction. Like, for example, if you want to, like, I don't know, darken your orange, let's say, you can get burnt sienna and darken it like that instead of taking black and darkening orange. And what that'll do is it'll keep your orange nice and orange, but also darken it, versus turn it to brown and darken it. And it's those subtleties when it comes to color mixing that gets a little more complicated. And it takes a lot of trial and error and seeing how things move, but that's definitely like the chapter I'm in with color. Like realizing the purpose of all the invented colors, because just one day along the line an artist was sitting there, he's like, I'm just so tired of desaturating my orange. How do I keep it rich? And then a chemist came along and was like, try burnt sienna, or whatever. There's so many different combos. It goes on and on. I think it's getting dry enough. I'm a little bit worried about the mushrooms. I think they're still too wet. But I don't think I care about masking the mushrooms because it's too big of an area. The reason I want to mask the geodes is because it'll be more fun to peel it off later, and they're tiny droplets, so like when it comes to washing this whole dark area, it's just gonna make my life 10 times easier. And it's a judgment call. Like, I think it's easy to have like too much pride in art and be like, it's cheating, or it's like, you know, you don't need to use it, it's overkill. To me, it's like a judgment call. Like, to me, I don't use it as much. Like, personally, because it's a bit messy, it's kind of tricky to use and get the right effect with it. But like, you know, for example, I did a painting recently where it was like a campfire in a snowstorm. And it's like, do you really want to spend the time to paint around every single snowflake? Or do you want to just flick a bunch of masking on and then wash the black and then call it a day? It's up to you.
Go with the latter.
And arguably, and here's my main argument, I would say, is that you'll get a more realistic snow if you flick masking, because you're going to be getting that organic chaos of the flick with the masking drops. So, yeah, you know, it's up to you how much time Do you want to spend, like, I was definitely way more stubborn back then with all the things, like, oh, no masking, no this, you know. Use one pencil to get all the effects. And then just the deeper you go, you find the tools that you like.
You started the game on expert mode.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the older I get, the more it's about, like, I want to get as many paintings done as I can and just get the desired image I've had in my head. And it's like, at the end of the day, if it looks like how I wanted it to look,
Then you do.
whether I flick the masking or I paint it around it without the masking, doesn't matter. Got how I want it to look. Alright, I think it's safe to say it's dry enough. That's a benefit to watercolor. And also a mistake to amateurs, where you forget to wait for certain stages of the painting to dry because you're just excited and you want to keep moving on. And watercolor is very fussy about that.
That's true.
Especially if you're really going for like pure watercolor and you're trying to use just that. It's important to understand when to let a wash dry or a layer dry. Because what can happen is there's this deceiving stage of dry in watercolor, and I only discovered this through just countless trial and error. And basically, it'll seem like it's dry, and then you go to put a layer over it, and you immediately just swipe it away. And interestingly enough, there's a stage of dry that is so dry that if you do it fast enough, you can put another layer of paint over it, and it will not affect the layer below it. Within like 2 to 3 strokes at the very most. If you push it past that, you will reactivate it and start moving it, but there is a fine line. Like, so for example, this is still deceived dry. This wash right here, it's not dry. So if I went to add the darker dwarven structure color to get the shadows in here right now, what would happen was it would take over this color entirely and not mix with it. What you want it to happen is you want it to mix together with the new color in transparency. And you can accidentally void that by jumping the gun. And I wouldn't have said this in my 21-year-old days of art, but like, I enjoy that about watercolor now because it gives you these mandatory step back moments from your painting where you can just like, alright, I'm waiting for it to dry, and you just look at it. Okay, am I happy with what happened? You know, you can decide where you're going next, and I like that about it. Stop my recording on that note. Don't film paint dry, but definitely watch it dry. Don't want to watch your video if it's just drying paint. Alright, so here's the masking. This is the first one I went with. Because I'm new to it. I honestly, like, I swear I've only used masking on the last, like, 3 paintings. Because I was finally like, alright, I want to see what this stuff is about, and blah blah. You know, see it used for a lot of different effects, and wondering why they use it. And after several experiments with it, I like it. For a few uses already. Now, one thing I know about it, it dries so insanely freaking fast. To the point where you dip your brush in it, and you're already making these weird, like, stringy cheese strands. To where you can, like, dip your brush in it and then go to paint it on the canvas, and it'll, like, peel off what you just painted because, like, the other part's drying and it gets weird and then, like, sticks to what's on your brush, and it can be a mess. So you have to be, like, quick and decisive with your painting with it, and you can see in the cap there's already like clumps that dry. It's messy stuff, but I mean, it's to help you. It's to your advantage. What?
Decisive.
Yeah, concise. I meant to say.
Concise, precise, and decisive all at the same time.
Yeah. There you go.
It's a very decisive word.
Here at Planet Jokum, you can paint wherever you want in your world, and you can also use it everywhere you want. So
I think it was the perfect word for this one.
Great, you know, if you use the word in good enough context, it makes sense, right?
That made perfect sense. Paul Webster Merriam right now.
Yep, new word. I bet if I had AI just scan through all like 375 streams I've done, however many, just find all the nonsense words that I've accidentally said. I'd like to read that list. So I'm gonna go with the number 4 round. I don't know what they're measuring in. I would guess millimeters. I'd say about 4 millimeters. Fits in that. And it's not gonna be perfect, but you're just gonna go around here. Oh, I forgot a step that I learned recently. So, clean this off quick before my brush gets mad. So, masking fluid makes your brush extremely mad. It hates it. And I learned this the hard way by ruining a brush. I don't know what it is, it just, whatever it's made out of, it gets in the bristles and it just sort of turns your brush into this stale, stiff, horrible brush. And I was watching a guy, and he goes, remember, always get your brush soap, put a little brush soap on it first. I happen to have this here, they sell this, it's like brush washy soap. I have a big one and a small one, I have another one, but it activates with water. And he said just get a little soap on your brush. Before you put it in the masking, and supposedly the film of the soap helps protect the bristles from the masking. But you can still like paint the masking without mixing with the soap. And he's right, it's awesome. So it looks like comes in like a hockey puck form in a little dish. Kind of like a giant makeup thing. And I'll just turn it. Make sure all the bristles get the soap on it. Because the thing is, what really messes up a brush is when, and trust me, I know this because I've been doing construction painting also for my entire life since like before I graduated high school. And the number one thing that ruins a brush is when paint gets inside it. So once you get that paint up inside those bristles up at the top where they're all pinched, it's done for. There's no getting it out. You might be able to get most of it out. But yeah, it's something I never thought I would have such an in-depth knowledge about, is taking care of hairs. At the tip of a stick.
Stick hairs.
Knowing how to maintenance your stick hairs is important. Okay. Take a little soap off on the paper. Do you manage your stick hairs? I hope so. Stick hairs lives matter. Especially if you want a good painting experience. These guys I'd meet on the field, they throw away their brush after the job. I'm like, what are you doing? I've used brushes for up to 2 years before it saw its final day. It's always something that makes it see its final day. And just dipping it here in the masking fluid. And just put it over your little geode spots. And it's going to take some time. Now, another way that I could have done this is washed big areas in this blue and then flicked masking fluid on top of it. And then did the black dark wash, and you get the same effect. If anything, it probably might even come out more natural than the way I'm doing it now. The only reason I'm doing it like this is because it's more of a complex painting where I didn't want to wash everything in blue. and it's transparent. You can kind of see it. I don't know how good you can see it on camera, but it's transparent. And I'm actually letting a little bit spill out from the sides of the geodes into the pure white, because I don't think it can hurt to preserve some of that pure white. Kind of thinking about sparkles. And at this point, it's already dry. The ones I've already hit are dry. And you can see that. See a little stringy thing happened already. You gotta move quick with it. Anything, when you get a stringy thing, you gotta get it off. Words to the wise. And I gotta paint more systematically here, because it's easy to lose track where you are with this stuff. And it's not the end of the world if I miss one and I want another geode. These glowy bright things at the end can fix with gouache, and you can also, the thing is, like, you don't need gouache. I've challenged myself before. I'm like, okay, what happens, you know, if you fucked up, you put it somewhere you didn't want. You can erase watercolor pretty effectively if you're patient and you take your time with it. If you have a super clean, pure water wet brush, and you just slowly massage the area off, and the stiffer the brush, the better. And you can get most of it off. It's not going to go back to pure white, but in a lot of situations, it's enough to save the day. So I think that's one of the most enjoyable parts about painting, is there's a lot you don't have to worry about, like where it seems like you're doomed, you messed up. But it's a pretty flexible medium with recovering your mistakes. Now, white piece of paper, black ink, and a quill, that's more unforgiving, if not very unforgiving. But you know, that also makes it its own kind of fun. And I'm not being as accurate as I should be here. I kind of want to just get the biggest ones, not too worried about all the little dots. Like getting every single one perfect. Like when I did the flick initially with the blue paint, I intended on leaving a bunch of them behind. It's not like a sad thing. It's like geodes will be fine. Nice, so far so good. I guess it was a bad internet day last time. Like I said, I did get a text on my way home from work that was like, Xfinity, we've restored whatever. You know, if they say we've restored, then at some point it was being horrible, right? So, and now I'm forgetting the ones that already hit. I jumped around too much, so it was my fault. And definitely clean your brush ASAP after you mask with it. And if anything, don't keep the whole masking jar open like I am now. Put it in a little cap or something, because the longer you keep this thing open, the more it's gonna like dry on the inside and get all stringy and weird, and it's like super fast drying alien stuff. It's very cool. But chemistry is cool, man. The amount of different substances you can make by mixing things together is just, that'll fascinate me forever. So cool. I'm gonna just do a couple random dots that aren't over the blue here and there, and we'll give us some white sparkles. I think it'll help later on, but I don't know, we'll see. It's a fun experiment for both of us that I don't know the result of, because I recommend that you all do that in every painting, no matter how far along the path you go. Throw yourself curveballs. Try different things on your paintings that may lead to cool effects or things that you didn't know how to do before. I guess that's a good thing to say about, like, if you think it's like a super serious painting, like it's a commission, like, oh no, I can't do that, it's my commission. I would disagree. Because you only have so many paintings in your life, and you should use every single one as an opportunity to discover that next cool trick that you use. It's not a performance trick, it's like a trick for yourself. For when you're trying to achieve a desired effect. What effect you're trying to achieve, and why are you painting it? Are the two big questions. I would argue, more importantly, why are you painting it? That's the best question out of all of them. Because if you can't answer that question, don't put it in the painting. I'm gonna do the masking on this mushroom. It's tiny. As well as this one. And see, that's a good example. A big area like that, don't go over it again like I just did. I already started pulling on the stringy stuff. Gets weird quick. And a few spots on these rocks. I'm gonna mask. It's easy as that. You paint it right on, and you think like, oh wow, how could I keep the paint on? No, it does. It's impressive. It works. And you have to let it dry for a very long time. No, it's not that long. Not that long. But I have jumped the gun with it, so beware. Disclaimer. A few spots on the mushroom, because why not? I'm new to masking. Just a bit at the top. Big sponge and dab some of that back. And when you peel it off, it sort of feels like, you know that like sticky stuff you get on the back of a new branded debit card? And you gotta like roll it, peel it. That's kind of exactly how this stuff dries. Alright, I'm gonna call it there with the masking. I missed one. Actually, I can lean my head into the light and see it reflects. So, there you go. Remember that when you're messing with it. One geode I missed. Would have been covered up by the darkness. Might as well paint it while I'm leaning in the light. Works too. I think this stuff impressed me the most when I did the blizzard painting, because I was trying to do a look where it was in the dead of night and pitch black, but you had the white snowflakes. So I put a dark wash over that stuff, and it was magical to swipe off to pure white snowflakes. Now, I'm not sure it would work with other mediums, but worth trying. I definitely think it would work with gouache, but thicker paint, I do not think it's strong enough to like pull acrylic off of a canvas. Maybe if it was thin enough. A few more randos. I think it's two once it just peels off. If I find another spot that I like, I can just fill it in with blue. It doesn't have to be blue first. That's just how I did it this time. Lean my head way over here. Few more I missed. go. Now I'm gonna have to leave y'all with a quick time lapse as I need to go to the bathroom. I need to promptly clean my brush because it will be ruined if I don't. Cleans off with water, but I would recommend using some dish soap and just massage the bristles with your finger. Doesn't just rinse out because the stuff is designed to be hydrophobic, so it's like weirdly hard to clean for that reason. Alright, thanks for sticking around thus far if I don't see you when I get back, and we'll see you in a couple seconds, or minutes rather. Gotta go clean my brush and go to the bathroom. And restart the music. Heyo, I'm back. Gotta brighten the camera a little bit. I noticed the light that comes through the window actually adds a lot, even though it doesn't seem like it. It's like once it gets dark out, it goes down a hair. Very easy to blur it out though. It's probably one tad too much. Just art light. Oh, there we go. Just had to tilt it up a little. Alright. The masking is pretty much dry enough. Kenny Marks, hello everyone, it's my birthday. Wow, nice man. Happy birthday, Kenny. Good to see you here, man. How old? Glad you made it around the sun again. Can't stay long, I just wanted to say hi. No problem. You gotta go celebrate. But on your birthday, you're coming to my stream, man. Take the time, I appreciate it. Happy birthday. I wish I could I wish it was like you walking by my art stand at a festival and you were like, it's my birthday, and I could be like, oh sick, take a free sticker, bro. Like, not sure how to do that so instantly over online. Thanks, I'm 40. Damn, the big 4-0, bro. You made it. 4-0. 4-0 is on the horizon for me. I'm on my way there. I'm 32 currently. So, see you there, brother. 8 years away. That goes by quick these days. 5 years is feels like the new 2 years, let me tell you. No problem, man. You're one of my favorite YouTubers. Really? Oh shit, dude. Well, that means a lot. I appreciate that. I didn't think I was anyone's favorite YouTuber. So, super kind of you to say, man. I hope you have the best birthday ever. It's a big one. That's only once every 10 years you get to say, you know, beginning of a decade like that. So, just don't find yourself puking in a bathroom at 4 a.m. So, you know, don't go down like that. But if you're 40, guaranteed you're probably not doing that. That was the day I cut that off. I was like, can't party like that anymore. To me, it's like dream birthdays. Like, I want to go outside in a hammock and light a fire and look at nature or something. I don't know. But hey, man, have a great birthday. Thanks for stopping by. I still don't trust the masking. It's not quite dry yet. Just letting it sit another second or so. Deciding on the next attack sequence. It's good to see how it performs over here. It's cool too, because it doesn't... You can see right away how it pushes away the water. A little bit will sit on top of it sometimes if you're going really thick with it, but... I want to fill in the rock here. Here's where I'll go next. We're riding up on 10 minutes before we get to end as well. So it'll be a good little last area to color in. I'm gonna go with the short round. I still feel like 27. Hell yeah, dude. That's the way to be. I still feel like I'm 27 too. I definitely feel okay. I've been getting into frisbee golf lately, obsessed. And it hurt at first, kind of getting back into throwing real hard like that over and over, but it came back pretty quick. I'm feeling pretty strong. I'm feeling pretty good. I like your work. You deserve more followers. Oh shit, man. Thanks. Glad someone out there likes it. I really appreciate it. Hopefully someday I will have them. Just gonna try to keep staying consistent, you know? Chipping away one day at a time. I have an art show coming up in September, so hopefully you try to just meet those 2-3 more each time. Ultimately, it's about recording my journey. Just having a little spiel about that earlier. So I try to stay true to that. Hopefully the rest will follow. Too obsessed to turn back now. Sometimes, I don't know how to articulate this thought. It feels silly to be an adult, still completely obsessed with that thing you started being obsessed with as a kid. In a world that tends to be very serious and do this and that, but it's like, sometimes it feels funny to be like in my 30s and still obsessed with just like scribbling with crayons, you know? But I guess that's what's kind of helped keep me young too and happy as well. When your art is worth millions, just remember us little people. Hey, get out of here, brother. That'd be nice, huh? Worth millions, I'll give you all $10,000 in the chat. I'll remember you. I know. It's only like 30 people, so I'll be able to afford it. It'll only be like 300K to pay you all off. Yeah, you know. The OGs know who they are. He was like Kenny, Daniel, Dead King, Mew, Steph, Kate. Y'all been here since the start. Y'all know who you are. I'm glad it's enjoyable, you know? Like, that feels good to hear. Like, sometimes I feel like it's a bit boring, because you look at all this other content, everyone puts hours and hours into making it all snappy and high edited and crazy and bouncy, and it's like, I don't have it in me. And honestly, like, it's getting to the point where it's more about painting, and it's like, when it comes to making content, I don't like grinding on the video editing program for hours and trying to think of what's the next snappy, awesome, attention-grabbing video. Like, honestly, my favorite form of it is just like sitting down, chilling and painting and just like turning it on. And we just hang out and have some relaxing music, like, cause that's what I like to do. You know, like I don't want to do the camera part, to be honest. Like, I used to. Don't get me wrong, I used to. It's just, it's gotten old. You'll get there. I can feel it. I'm part gypsy. Well, I trust in your prophecy, my friend. All I know is I have a self prophecy to fulfill, and I really can't help it either way. Can't tell you how many jobs I've had, and I'm sitting there and I'm doodling, getting in trouble. Get back to work. Comes back. I can't shove it away. I've tried. Nothing I can do about it. Drawing's a particular one. Haunted me since I first was obsessed with it. 3 years old. My mom showed me her drawings. And I was like, you're telling me you can get a stick and do that on a piece of paper? Like, wait, what? Hold on a second. Give me one of those things. And like, next day she got me a sketch pad, and I remember it was this little yellow sketch pad with like a flower on the center of the thing. It was my first sketchbook ever. It looks like the classic kid drawings, like 5 years old, 4 years old, where it's just like, you know, like picture like the classic like family holding hands and they all look deformed, with like the shitty house. It's like a box with a triangle on top of it. Like, that's where I started. And I just haven't been able to quit. Music came into play in my life around 6 years old, but I didn't take it seriously until like 11 when I got a guitar. And that definitely became a whole chapter, but definitely I think the biggest one in my life is painting or drawing or creating worlds. I think that's why I'm an environment artist. I love worlds. I was obsessed with outer space and interstellar space when I was younger. Black holes, you name it, just like, so it makes sense that like why I'm so obsessed with drawing like areas or environments. I'm pretty good at tracing. It's a good skill to have. It's a very useful skill. actually a it's a good way to learn human anatomy. Take a picture of someone, you trace over the muscles, try to find them. Also, animation, being good at tracing. Gotta be good at tracing in animation. There's an effect you turn on in the program, it's called onion skin. And when that button's clicked, basically you can choose how many frames you see before your current frame. I usually have it around 2 because if you have like 5 or 6, it starts getting crazy looking. But and they're lower opacity, see through. But really helps to be good at tracing there. I used to do, that was one of my first earliest art forms around 12, 13. Adobe Flash came out. I was doing stick guy fights. Animating stick guy battles. Really bloody and gruesome, by the way. Heads getting ripped off and exploding and body parts flying everywhere. One guy gets run over by a tank, like slowly. Yeah, it was such a boy, like, but it was so fun to animate. Like honestly, I will probably end up animating again on this channel because I've revisited it probably like countless times. I can't even put a number on it. I love animation. It's just, I think the patient level exceeds my ability to do like pure animation all the time. Just like every once in a while I like to do an animation project. It's fun. No, you're good. I lost your email. planetjokum@gmail.com. So my channel name, wherever you see it, @gmail.com. Alright. I started mixing my rock color over here. I'm gonna take some Prussian blue. We're gonna call it here, guys, after this. It's very green. And it's all math. It's all primary color math. So, like, it's green because if this is brown, it has yellow in it, and you're in a super blue atmospheric environment, so it's gonna take that yellow and the brown and make green out of it. You just keep analyzing it like that. And what you'll find, you mix a good ratio of Prussian blue, red, and yellow, you can make some really nice grays in any direction that you like. Whether you want it to be a warmer or a cooler gray. A little too green. Just gonna grab a little more blue. Easy enough, yeah. Okay, I gotta go. See you later, my friend. See you later, brother. And again, happy birthday, happy 40th birthday, man. That's sick. And hope you have a good one, man. Take care. Little red. Test it again. Something like that. That Prussian blue is all crummy. Crudzy. You make a nice quick gray if you mix red, Prussian blue. Because you already have a little bit of that yellow going on in Prussian. The gray reaction is built into those two colors, and you can find that a lot with pre-mixed colors or pure pigments that aren't a perfect primary. You'll find that, like, oh cool, like if I mix yellow and purple, it makes a instant gray. It's useful. And it's up to you to find all those. I'm not gonna list them all. When we come across them, I'll show them. But yeah, you can take some red and Prussian blue. It depends on your style, like how saturated you want to be. Like, then if you want to be super saturated, and then you can be less fussy about like exactly what gray you're getting. This guy I watch on YouTube, he's great. He just uses 3 colors, that's it. And there's people that use all the colors. I like to be somewhere in between. I find it's a bit of joy in mixing colors, finding them. I don't want to like remove that entirely. And that's why we have a palette cam. I spend a lot of time over here on this palette, if you haven't noticed. Sometimes I'll even take it way outside the color I'm looking for, just to see where it goes. You can always bring it back. If you have enough paint in your palette, you can always bring it back. More blue. The other thing too is cadmium red and Prussian blue make a really, really nice dark color. If you're only using 3 colors. Now I need a hair yellow. I'm gonna have to get my yellow out. I'm running out. Ooh, that's close. That's close. Maybe just play with those 3 ratios. You can even experiment having your own primary sets. You just need a type of red, yellow, and blue. You don't need like the classic red, yellow, and blue. But that's really fun. You can experiment. With other red, yellow, and blue primary sets. The other famous one is used by printers, which is yellow, cyan, and magenta. And it's because they get a wider array of colors. I'm gonna toss this in. Just being careful to preserve our mushroom. And go light over the masking. It comes off pretty easy. And you'll find you can take it off with the brush on accident. So look at that. Preserving the geodes. And I'm going to leave that little glow. And then later on, when that's completely dry, we peel it off. There we go, I like that. And remember, that's going to dry much lighter. You can already see having that next to that edge of the mushroom makes it an entirely different context. And that's the tricky part of watercolor. You gotta trust that process moving towards the darks. But on that note, it's time to go. And I really appreciate you hanging out, all of you. It's been a fun journey since we started doing this, and it's good to all see you still here. Next stream will be on a Thursday. Now, I have a new schedule I'm going. I'm trying to stick with it. It's Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturdays, 5 to 7. I recently picked up a paint job, so there's a chance that the weekday ones will be a little bit starting later, just knowing how things can go in the construction world. So, but generally around that evening time for now. Works for me. In the sense of getting the things I gotta do during the day done. But yeah, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturdays. Join the Discord. And if you're watching on YouTube, it's a big help if you like and subscribe, because the algorithm loves it there. Not so much everywhere else. I don't even think there's a like button on Twitch. I don't even think that's a thing. But yeah, have a great night. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. We'll just continue coloring this, and now we don't have to worry about our palette, because we just reactivated. I love this medium. Take care.